Sam Bankman-Fried is a criminal, a con man, and a fraudster. What happened at FTX was not an accident, and yet you may have noticed on mainstream media they've given different portrayals of Sam Bankman-Fried and the group of kids that were hanging around the Bahamas penthouse. Some of the most reputable organizations, the Wall Street Journal and the New York Times, have yet to give a straightforward assessment. They've either downplayed the facts or called it mismanagement. Sam Bankman-Fried has now been going on an apology tour to explain some of his side of the events. It's not really a surprise that his legal team wish he wasn't doing this, because they've already fired him as a client because he would be implicating himself. On November 30th, Sam Bankman-Fried made his first live public appearance since the collapse of FTX by answering a number of questions during the Deal Book Summit in New York. The hour-long interview was conducted on stage by New York Times journalist Andrew Sorkin, and he was speaking to Sam Bankman-Fried via video conference. Sam Bankman-Fried was the innocent fool by saying, "I unknowingly commingled funds. I was frankly surprised at how big Alameda's position was, which points to another failure of oversight on my part and failure to appoint someone to be chiefly in charge of that." On December 1st, Sam Bankman-Fried did an interview with George Stephanopoulos on Good Morning America, and he denied the improper use of customer funds. According to Sam Bankman-Fried, he had no knowledge of FTX customer deposits being used to pay Alameda Research's creditors, as what was previously claimed by the former co-CEO of Alameda Research, Caroline Ellison. I've gathered some of the best takes on Twitter to show you what people's reaction to this has been. Mary Catherine Ham from CNN said, "Media is more hostile to Musk for spending his own money than to SBF for losing a couple of billion in people's life savings. The tone is pretty astonishing." One of the more astonishing things was the reaction at the end of the SBF interview at the Deal Book Summit. Just watch this.
On behalf of everybody here and on behalf of the public, I want to thank you for engaging in it at a time, in truth, when I know you've been advised not to. So thank you so very, very much. Thank you. Sam Bankman-Fried, everybody.
As always, we seem to resort to the voice of reason, CoffeeZilla, who said on the Twitter Spaces with SBF this.
Absolutely right. I just want to say real quick, I don't know who said oh, I believe you have good intentions here. SBF has only one intention, which is to save himself from jail. Let's all keep an eye on that, because if you want to read into his statements, everything is said with the idea that he's trying to paint a narrative of himself, that he made an embarrassing mistake, that although he's this genius who went to these top tier Ivy League schools, worked on Jane Street, wooed everybody from BlackRock to Sequoia, all of a sudden he's an idiot the second he's committed fraud, right? We're supposed to believe he didn't know what was going on the company he started and ran for years. We're supposed to believe he didn't know what was going on right across the street. I mean, how stupid do we have to believe a narrative like that? It's completely insane. But people are kissing his ass saying, "Oh, I believe you're doing the right thing." No, he's done enough. He's helped enough. He needs to take a sideline. He needs to go to jail, and people need to get whatever pennies they're going to get back from this whole thing. He's lied from the very beginning. I'm shocked by the credulity people have in relation to this guy. They just suck up whatever he's saying. Nearly everything out of this guy's mouth is a lie, except where it lines up with him not going to jail, and then he might tell the truth. But every single thing he says is with the aim of not going to jail, and everyone needs to remember that.
Mike Novogratz of Galaxy Digital also echoed the sentiments of many in crypto by saying, "The reality is that Sam and his cohorts perpetuate a fraud. He stole money from people. People should go to jail." It's becoming more clear that what happened at FTX, the crypto exchange, and Alameda Research, the trading firm, was a series of conscious and intentional fraud. They both stole money from users and investors. No wonder a New York Times interview with Sam Bankman-Fried was lambasted by the crypto community. It somehow seemed to frame the FTX collapse as a result of mismanagement rather than malfeasance. The Wall Street Journal even bemoaned the loss of charitable donations from FTX, as if Sam Bankman-Fried and his crew of friends were some sort of philanthropic organization. And while many news outlets have described what happened to FTX as merely a bank run, we now see that it was misuse of customer funds. FTX and other crypto exchanges are not banks, so they shouldn't be bank-style lending. FTX even specifically promised their customers that they would never lend out or otherwise use the crypto that they entrusted onto their exchange. But in reality, those funds were sent to the sister company, Alameda Research, and were simply gambled away. This is theft, and it occurred at an unprecedented scale. The total losses have yet to be quantified, but up to 1 million customers could be impacted, according to a recent bankruptcy document. These crimes all begin with a connection between FTX and Alameda Research. Sam Bankman-Fried tried to distance himself from FTX and Alameda Research, but it was clear that they were working together and even lived together in a Bahamas penthouse. Not only that, but members of FTX and Alameda Research were romantically linked, including Sam Bankman-Fried and Caroline Ellison, the co-CEO of Alameda Research. We've now come to learn that when Alameda Research was in trouble, FTX was lending them money using customer funds. Reuters made a stunning report that as much as $10 billion in client funds were sent from FTX to Alameda Research. This may have all been happening even before the crypto crash of 2022 caused by Terra Luna, Terra UST, Do Kwon, and Three Arrows Capital. We've also come to realize that on the balance sheets of FTX and Alameda Research were their own FTT token. This is a crypto exchange token that they created themselves to provide users with discounts on trading fees on the FTX platform. However, a tiny portion of it was actually on the open market. Most of it was owned by FTX and Alameda Research. This means that this FTT token was impossible to sell on the open market, and yet Sam Bankman-Fried accounted for these FTT tokens as a large portion of their balance sheet to make them seem more healthy than they actually were. It is also widely believed that the FTT token was used as collateral between the loans of FTX and Alameda Research. Using in-house assets as collateral for loans between linked entities is not too dissimilar to what happened in Enron and the accounting fraud committed by the executives there. Those executives served as much as 12 years in prison for their crimes. In legal findings by the new CEO handling the FTX bankruptcy and liquidation, we've also come to learn that Alameda Research had a special status as a user on FTX and was given secret exemption from the platform's liquidation and margin trading rules. Giving Alameda Research exemptions from maintaining healthy margin positions would give it an advantage over other people and also expose FTX users to immense hidden risks. This is because Alameda Research was in theory allowed to lose more money on FTX than anyone else and would leave a hole where customers' funds had been. There is now strong evidence that Alameda Research was also using its knowledge of new tokens that were going to be listed on the FTX exchange to front-run those listings. If you know when a token is going to be listed on an exchange and an increase in price, you can buy up those tokens before it's listed and then sell at the premium price. Even though these tokens aren't classed as securities, this is essentially insider trading. It was only earlier this year that we saw an OpenSea employee charged for insider trading for the crime of front-running monkey JPEGs, and that employee faces up to 20 years in prison. There were also huge personal loans given out to the FTX executives. Sam Bankman-Fried reportedly received an incredible $1 billion in personal loans. Director of Engineering Nishad Singh was given a loan of $543 million, while FTX Digital Markets co-CEO Ryan Salam received a $55 million personal loan. Did you know that Alameda Research also secretly bought a US bank? Examiners have come to discover that Alameda Research invested $11.5 million into a tiny community bank called Farmington State Bank. $11.5 million is more than double the amount of the bank's prior net worth. Controlling a US bank would have allowed Alameda Research and FTX to engage in any number of fraudulent activities. This whole time, Sam Bankman-Fried has been able to portray himself as just a nerd, a simple, generous billionaire. He's been so good at masquerading as an honest player, a white knight, it's no surprise he's still able to do the same even after all these allegations. He cultivated an inside circle of political and social influence through a web of strategic donations and his ideology, effective altruism. He's now portraying himself as this innocent kid who got a little bit over his head, made a few miscalculations. Even now, mainstream voices like Kevin O'Leary from Shark Tank gave an interview where he described Sam Bankman-Fried as a savant and probably one of the most accomplished traders of crypto in the world. This is despite all the trading losses they incurred even when the times were good in crypto during a bull run. It's no surprise to know that Kevin O'Leary was an investor and formerly a paid spokesperson for FTX. The scale, complexity, and atrocities of what Sam Bankman-Fried has done with other people's money is no different to what Bernie Madoff did. Sam Bankman-Fried deserves to feel the full force of the law and to be sent to prison for them.